tremendous looking trophy.
Hello and welcome to the Platinum Explosion #1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Don Blight. Joining me, as always, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here to break down even more stuff after the brilliant showcase. They got everybody excited and made everybody very, very happy.
By everyone, do you mean you?
You know, I don't think maybe no one. I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
Listen, people got very upset about two people getting into a boat, so I know what to tell you.
Two people? Who got into a boat? Oh, right, the God of War thing.
Kratos and Atreus.
Yeah. Now, fine. But let's, so in case you missed it, there's an episode up on this podcast feed, Platinum Explosion podcast feed, where we covered the showcase on Friday. So if you want to hear me and Ash basically argue about that showcase for like an hour, go listen to that. That is available. We'll be going over some more God of War stuff and whatever else in a moment. But if you want to hear everything about that, go listen back to that episode, released on Friday. That thing, I forgot about it. So I hate this because it's like that whole, it is literally like the puddle thing again, right? But the thing that annoys me the most is the first time I see someone like, quote, retweet, share that, I literally just went to that dude's account and went, mute, bye. And then people still like trying to quote share him or whatever. And I'm just seeing it like, I can still see people's like tweet, but not the attached one in the quote, like in the retweet. But I'm like, I know who they're talking about based on what they're saying. But if this shit happens, just stop. Just don't share it. Just ignore them. Like, I understand it's like sort of free comedy. And like, if you're the first person to make the fun of them and make the joke and you get shared around, you know, it's your chance to go viral, I guess, or whatever. But for the most part, just ignore these dumbasses. I'm pretty sure that person is well aware of what they're doing and being a troll, because if you looked on the account, it said something like Mega Xbot or, you know, like very just, I'm such a big Xbox rules or something. I'm like, why are we giving this person attention? How weird. Anyway,
it's crazy. And I don't know how you can put those two things side by side and say one is completely the same as the other. When you look at the Ragnarok footage, and the backgrounds are so much more beautiful and full of life, and the water is clear, and the lighting's so much better.
It's animation.
Crazy.
That was apparently the problem.
It's
the
just
same animation of getting into the boat, which I'm thinking, if you were to look at an animation from 5 years ago when I got into a car and an animation of me getting into a car now, it's probably the exact same fucking thing. I open the door,
there's
I
only
get
so
in the
many
car.
ways you can do it.
You know, like if that's how Kratos gets into a boat.
Man, if you go look up what, you know, Disney artists used to do in the day where they pretty much reuse animations in different things, you'd be pissed. You know, it's just smart. More than anything else.
I'm thinking about other things, like the video templates for our podcasts are all based on the same template and then changed for different things and whatever else. Like, it's just everyone
like
in every industry.
Yeah.
Anyone in any industry who reuses assets or ideas or whatever to help them work better, not harder. Yeah. Whatever the saying is.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No. Listen, they use the same lead singer in every single album. It's bullshit. They should come up, find a new singer every single time
Change it.
a band wants to release an album. It's crazy.
Probably should. Yeah. Anyway, that person's an idiot. In the trophy cabinet this week, silver trophy for another studio joining PlayStation, gold trophy for more God of War details, not just what we're talking about, and a platinum for Deathloop. It's out. So let's get into that quickly. Deathloop Impressions, and by impressions I mean I've played an hour, maybe. Yeah, probably like an hour, I guess. Let me get this out of the way. I can't believe the game's out. Can't believe we'll have to see like one more trailer. They'll put out like an accolades one eventually or some shit like that.
Probably.
Maybe there's DLC, we'll get another trailer, maybe a game of the year trailer, something like that. So there's more to come, but
there's more to come.
The bullshit lead up of what felt like the last 10 years of my life being nothing but trailers for this game, that's over. So thank God for that. There's whatever this PlayStation's next event is, there will not be a Deathloop trailer in it. And my God, if there is. Fucking hell. Get it done with. So I got a better idea of how this game plays now, which is the key thing. So I can't like dive into it because as I said, it's like impressions. But even within that hour or an hour and a bit or whatever I play, I've got a much better idea at how this game actually plays than any of the trailers and marketing that they released ever gave me, which is fucked, really. Like, they did a very good job of explaining, I guess, the core concept of the game being that you have to kill all these villains, right? But otherwise, they didn't really explain how you go about that. And is this game like a... Because people were always, roguelike, you know? Is this a roguelike? No, it's not. It really isn't. Like, that's the thing. So you start the game. It basically, the first few things you do are basic, simple, actual video game levels where you enter an area. It goes, here's your objective. Go to there. Once you get there, it's like you're free to explore if you want, or head back and then it'll take you back to your sort of home base. And from there, you proceed to another area, so on and so forth. So this is the sort of, once you've got past the opening tutorial section of the game or the first hour or so, like the act that sort of sets up you got to kill these 6 or whatever it is people. But it sets up this whole thing where it's like from the home base of the game, you can select an area to go to, and then you will go to there in the morning. And then once you return from that area, you will then select another destination to go to. And when you go there, it'll be like the afternoon and then it'll be night. And that's, and you rotate it through a day that way. But the other thing is that really doesn't make this a roguelike, in my opinion, is that you instantly at the start of the game, you have this whole reprisal, I think that's what they call it, reprisal system. So if you die, it like rewinds like a videotape, puts you back, you go invisible for a couple seconds or whatever. You can do that 2 times. So you've got the life you start with, another life, a third life. You die in the third life, you're dead. You restart the loop or whatever. However, that's per area. So if in the day of a loop, if you used down to your last life reprisal in one area, but you make it back to the exit and then you choose a different location to go to for your next place or whatever, you then reset. You got all 3 back. So, and this is just what you get at the start of the game, let alone I think you can later get more of these and even like a chamber or some shit they've talked about before that gives you more life. So there seems like there's plenty opportunity to come back alive. Like, it isn't super punishing. I have not died in the game yet. Like, actually died. I've died and like revived because I accidentally fell into water, which apparently just instantly kills you. So there's a thing.
That water will do that.
Yeah. I mean, there's not even a couple seconds of like, you know, to get to escape.
Swim animation.
No, it's just you drop in water, you're dead. So, I mean, yeah, it's not a roguelike at all. I wouldn't be scared off by that factor at all. And the other thing is that the whole, in all their marketing, they made it sound like it was you start the game and you got to sort of pick an area and try and find a way to defeat a villain and then, do another one and see how you can do them all in one loop. Not really. The game gives you objectives for each of the people you got to kill. And from my understanding, it very much seems like once you figure out how to do one, that one's ticked off, and then you can do the rest. And then once you've killed each, what this is me assuming the way it plays out. I think once you've killed each once and it's ticked off, you will then go into the final phase of the game where you'll use everything you've learnt to do one final run where the game objectively leads you through doing all of them in a row. And that's how you do it. So, but when you're actually playing the game, it is very heavily objective based where it's go here, do this thing, go here to learn more about bad guy, blah, 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 blah. Plenty of chances for checkpoints and all that sort of stuff. So in my opinion, there's no reason to be scared of the game based on what I've played so far. And to make it even easier, I've spent most of it, maybe it changes as you get further into the game and you get more powers and whatever else. But just play the game stealth, honestly. Like you unlock I think it's a nail gun. Yeah, you unlock a nail gun early in the game. Headshot, stealth, kill people from far. Piss easy. Well, just take it slow. Because you have fuck all health when you start the game too. I assume you upgrade this stuff or get stronger weapons and all this sort of stuff as you go along. But considering enemies can kill you pretty fast, and you can mark them by pressing down on a D-pad or whatever. It's just like you'll oversee an area, be like, beep, 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 like 6 people here, just go around, headshot, headshot, headshot. Boom. You can melee kill them, sneak up behind, easy.
I mean, some people are not as good as you, Dylan. So they might.
I don't think it's hard. It's not hard stealth. It is.
Although, again, you said you've only played an hour, so I mean, you're pretty early.
Yeah, I mean,
from what reports I've read, it's like potentially can beat the game in 12, 14 hours. So.
Yeah, the tweets I read, people are saying you can beat it in like 10 hours. So
pretty crazy.
Surprising. Looked up PowerPix's trophy guide before just to see if he had, if there was missables or anything like that. And at the top of his guide, he said like 20 hours for the platinum. So
that's crazy.
Great though, isn't it? Knowing it's not like a massive.
Yeah, but. Obviously, from what it was how it was being sold. I thought it was going to be like bigger and longer, and but that's promising because I think one of the fears we had about the game was would it become repetitive, seeing as you're doing the same thing over and over again. You have to try and get that perfect run or whatever. But it seems like that's not going to be a major factor. So that's good, No,
and the other thing is that there is a system of you can upgrade, like permanently unlock. There is some sort of progression. Yes. So this is not Returnal.
Unlike something Returnal. Yes. That's the one people were bringing up when they were talking about it.
So you can permanently upgrade your guns or like abilities or whatever using, I can't remember what the materials are. So as long as you do that prior to you dying, once you die, you're good. And then of course, there's other stuff that you just learn and unlock. So if you like find journal entries, they can give you information that'll help you unlock a shortcut even, or, stuff like this. So there's always something you're doing to do it. And again, you don't have to do, at least from my understanding, you don't have to do all of the bosses in one run at first. I really do think that's saved until the end of the game, once you've done them all at least once separately, and then you've got all these powers and whatever unlocked. And like the quickest route to them and all this sort of shit. And then I think the game's going to ask you to do it. But that's not the task up front. And even the first hour or so that I played the game, or the main section I've done, the opening section, very just objective based. Go here, do this, blah, blah, blah. Pick up this thing, go back to this area. It's like a normal video game.
I mean, from what I've heard, I listened to one review podcast, they said the game was reasonably handholdy. So, I mean...
Very.
I mean,
at the start, yeah.
That could potentially mean if you don't want to do that objective, just go somewhere else, do something else. I don't know whether the game will do that or not, but
not for the start. The start is like very heavy because it's also like story. There is a lot of story happening in this game. So here's the thing: I don't know how much to talk about story because surely everyone's seen the trailer a billion times. But you're playing as
but we don't know what the story.
I don't remember his name.
Cole,
yeah. So the game literally starts with him. It's a cool opening to the game. I'll spoil like the first 5 minutes. So if you don't want to hear about it, I don't know, skip ahead like 30 seconds or whatever. But the game like starts with the girl whose name I can't remember either. She's like stabbing you to death, and he's like, "No, why are you doing this?" Blah. So then he like awakes on the beach like it's fucking Death Stranding, and then he's like, "Who am I?" and all this sort of shit, and you see all this like text in the world that's like, walk up here or whatever. It's like his subconscious leading him. It's like, you've been here before. And you sort of go through this opening act where you discover his sort of bunker. He's like left clues for himself. And then the game's like, go to here. Oh, you don't have a pin code for this. Oh, now go down this other area. And then she starts talking to you on the walkie-talkie and like, do you remember shit yet? He's like, I remember your name. You like killed me. And now I'm back. And she's like, oh, we're making success. Like you're actually remembering something. So the game starts in a way that makes you feel like he's died lots, but he was never starting to. This is the first time he's come back and retained any sort of information. And that's where the game chucks you in at the stage where he's starting to remember stuff that can help him go forward. And then he goes through this whole sort of opening sequence, maybe like 15 minutes or 15, 20 minutes before you die. Purposely, the game makes you die. But there is a cool moment where you're like, your brain's like, jump out this window or whatever, it'll be fine. And then another version of Cole catches you. and he's like holding onto you, and then he's like flipping out. He's like, "What the fuck, you're me?" And he's like, "Oh, that pin code you're looking for, you dumbass, it's written on the back of the postcard in your base or whatever." He's like, "Oh, damn, I didn't think to look there." And then she appears, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And she shoots off on a version that was holding you, and then you like drop to the ground. Then you revive, and you go back to the base. And yeah, it's on the postcard that you literally could have grabbed straight away, but the writing's really good, like the back and forth, like the voice acting plus just the way it's written tonally. It's quite entertaining. And there's always someone talking, be it Cole himself or the girl whose name I still can't remember, but it's fine.
Juliana or something?
There we are, Juliana. That is it. I've had someone invade me once, killed them, get fucked. And then I still haven't unlocked how to do... I think I have to play a bit more, maybe, before I can do
before
that.
You can play. Yeah.
So her whole system works... So there are parts of the game where she can't invade. Of course, you can play it offline and she won't invade at all. But the whole invading thing is it does let you know. So it can't happen random. Like you'll know that Juliana's invading you. And then it locks down. When she invades, it locks down the exits to that level you're in. Like the multiple exits are locked. You can either kill her to unlock them. Or there's like radio tower things like spread out that level. And you can, if you find one, you can hack it and they'll unlock the door, and then you can just try and escape. Or, of course, you can stay and fight her. If you fight her, you get stuff that'll help you, like rare shit to upgrade your abilities and that sort of shit, and bragging rights, I guess, as well, which is the thing. But I mean, if she kills you, you respawn not in the exact same location, and you do have a couple seconds of invisibility. So it's kind of like if you get caught out and one kills you and it drags you backwards, my number one tip is don't walk directly back to where Juliana just killed you, because she's probably still waiting for you there. Because I've seen so many clips online where people are like just camping these areas as Juliana, and just the Cole just keeps coming back into the same room over and over, and they're like standing there just sniping him from a distance or whatever. I'm like, just leave. Go somewhere else. I don't know. Just wait it out. Don't go through the exact same door, because there's usually multiple entrances and whatever to the buildings. They're well-designed levels and whatnot. You know, the game is heavily designed in a way that it's, if you want to play guns blazing, the more the merrier. If you want to jump from rooftops and sneak around through windows and ducts and hack things and get in and whatever, go for it that way. Whatever you need to do. So I'm enjoying it though. Definitely want to play more. I'm not in a rush though. Kieran is doing our review for this one, not me, so he can look for his full thoughts when he finishes it up. I assume it won't be this week because we only got review code on launch day, so
okay.
Look for that when we get it. Yeah, because I got other shit to play too. So, but I'm going to continue playing it, just not in a rush, I guess, which is good. Felt obligated to at least play some before we recorded today, though, because it is the PlayStation exclusive.
PlayStation.
It's on PC too.
And yeah, I mean, the Metacritic scores and that like look very promising. So
lots of tens.
Lots of tens.
Very surprised with the amount of tens it's getting, to be honest. I mean, I expected it to at least be like an average of an 8 something, you know, but the amount of tens I've seen, I was like, oof. There you go. Surprise, surprise. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it's...
See, we just weren't... The reason they kept doing trailers is because we weren't talking about how good it was. It's like...
I feel the trailers don't really just... A lot of the trailers were just bad, I think, in retrospect. They don't really explain what you're doing. I feel like a lot of the roguelike...
But do you think that's on purpose?
I don't know.
To surprise you when you play the game?
I just feel like a lot of the roguelike stuff turns people off, the way they're advertising it. Where if they had explained a bit better in one of those overview trailers that it's not actually a roguelike in the way that people think of it, people may have been a bit more into it. You know? I mean, people probably are into it. I don't really know. But I know people get turned off by that sort of thing in general. And to a degree, I'd understand where it's like, what the fuck's with every game having to be a roguelike or a Souls-like these days? It feels like everyone has to sort of fit into that genre. That's Deathloop. We'll talk more about next week. Find out. See how we go. But it is good. Based off my hour and a bit. 10 out of 10. All right, let's get into the news. So, God of War, a couple God of War stories. God of War Ragnarok. Firstly, IGN writes God of War Ragnarok, Cory Barlog, and Eric Williams on changing directors, why Williams was right for the role. So they have a little interviewee piece with, I'll just read out sort of a tidbit from it. Where was I here? I've been with the studio a long time. This franchise means everything to me. I've worked on a lot of different games at a lot of different studios, and there were only a few that really felt like they could be home once I was done consulting and wandering around the landscape of video games, Williams told IGN. So this is the new director. It just happened to line up that 2018 was very successful. Before that, we had spent a little bit of a rough spot with this studio, and this was like, we're going to go back, rebuild it strong again, and have a good foundation for the future. I've worked with every director on the franchise in a different capacity. I worked with Cory as an animation lead. I worked with David Jaffe as a director. I worked with Todd Pappy as a level designer. I worked with Stig as an artist, and with Rue Weresaya and Dana Jan at Ready at Dawn with different capacities, learning from each one of them. To me, it's just doing right by everyone that's come before me and taking the franchise in the right direction. You don't want to be that director that sends it off its rails. A lot of big franchises have this happen, and so I just want to pay respect to what we've done in the past and still try to keep it fresh for the future at the same time. For Barlog, the transition to Williams as director has its roots in how closely the two worked together when God of War 2018 was taking shape. In fact, Barlog credits Williams with really pushing him and the team to go as far as they did with the foundational changes and updates to the game. Continuing, quote, when Cory and I sat down and first talked about 2018, he was like, well, we're going to tear the house down to the studs. I was like, what does this really mean? We went back and forth on whether some things were just sacred. I was like, well, if you're going to do it, we have to do all of it. We have to go to those places where it was no blades, no jump, new camera, companion, all that. So I think I found this interesting. You can read the whole thing, but there's like just as an example here. But the takeaway I have from the piece is basically I didn't actually know who Eric Williams was, like when he was announced as a thing. But reading through this and getting an idea that he wasn't someone brought in or like from a different studio, and like he hasn't had any experience, knowing that he's deep rooted in Sony plus God of War, and importantly in 2018's God of War. I think that should help most people sort of rest easy knowing that it's someone who's attached and invested, I guess, into the franchise, and especially the doing a sequel properly to the one that everyone loved in 2018. If you read on further, it's a lot about similar. Cory says similar stuff to what he said during that Sony thing, which is just that he wanted, it's that thing where God of War's always had different director, and they wanted to continue that and get that fresh viewpoint, so it's not stale between games and so on and so forth. But one thing that will be the same, it's worth pointing out. Push Square writes, God of War Ragnarok's camera is a single shot from start to finish, just like the last game. So someone, God of War 2018, that was an excellent game, they write, the camera never cuts once. It's one seamless shot all the way through, whether it's gameplay or a cutscene. Perhaps unsurprisingly, it looks as though God of War Ragnarok will be following this rule too. Responding to a fan on Twitter, Matt Sophos, narrative director on the sequel, states the game's camera will be one unbroken shot, like 2018. In the grand scheme of things, it's not something many people will think about while playing, but having the camera never cut away, the adventure gives it a unique feel. There's never a break in action, keeping you in the world and involved in what's happening. It's very clever, and we're hoping to see the trend continue in Ragnarok. I actually didn't know if they would do this, because I guess it makes sense, I guess, as a sequel, but the whole thing with the first one, it very much just sets up this, like the camera's there, and you'll sort of just come along with this just journey, because you have like a location you got to get to. It just feels like a road movie, but it's got a war where the goal is the mountain. Get up there and whatever. So, and they do like a really smart job with the way they start that game with the camera being on the tree, and from that moment the way it just swings around, and how hard they've talked about how hard that camera system was, especially when you integrate it into these big action piece set moments and whatever else, and how you make that work. So the fact that they're like, oh fuck it, let's do it again. I guess there's something. Are you happy it's still one camera and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was such a important aspect, like of such a something that separated that game from everything else and gave it like a certain cinematic element to it, because we all know one shots, like long running one shots in film are like super cool and that kind of stuff. So why not continue? So yeah, as long as it works for the plot, and like I'm sure they'll find ways to like break it without breaking immersion and that kind of stuff. But it's cool that they want to maintain that and kind of keep the visual look of the games intact.
For sure. And that's all the God of War stuff. Unless you got any random things you've seen that. There's been a lot of God of War chit chat. There was also a story about people just being racist, but I'm like, I don't really know if that's the thing.
No, that, and people like complaining about Thor still, and
oh, that's right, Thor thing.
Breaking it down.
I forgot about that actually. I don't know how I forgot about that. It was all over Twitter, but yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, get over the Thor thing. Get over the.
Just wait till you see it in context.
Yeah. These people really on Twitter complaining. Well, there wasn't any. All Vikings were white or whatever. People are like, there's giant talking snakes. What the fuck are you talking about? Like,
yeah, cool. She's not a Viking, from what we know.
Yeah, she's a giant. She's a Jotunheim, or that's how it is, right? Yeah. Come on,
whatever. Listen, Kratos is from Greece. They can get imported from everywhere.
Yeah, that's fucking.
You know, it's such a weird hill
find
to die
the
on.
weirdest things to complain about.
But yeah, I think the other thing I don't think we mentioned during the discussion was Freya showing back up, which is interesting, and then seeing some of the discussion around her and how she holds some pieces from her son after the events of the last game, like in her costume and that kind of stuff. And potentially her through the entire game, like kind of trying to get her revenge.
I hope so. It's like Kill Bill.
Could be interesting. Yeah.
Kill Kratos. I mean, that would. I assume she'll be a big part. And again, that sort of, if I'm assuming, as I was saying in our showcase discussion, I'm saying thematically, I'm assuming the game's more about mothers than fathers. So her being a big part as a mother wanting revenge for her son, that would also like fit the theme, I guess. Yeah. Fit the glove sort of thing. Yeah. DualShockers writes, Gran Turismo 7 release date trailer is a love letter to fans. So I thought this was interesting because I was like, I know it didn't spot any of this, but we finally know Gran Turismo 7 release date. I think we do. And thanks to a new trailer, it's packed with tributes to previous entries in the franchise. Here are some of the more prominent ones we caught. So yeah, we talked about this on the showcase. I was like, cool trailer. Keen to check it out. What a game. Meanwhile, so they say Gran Turismo is back. That's the message being conveyed by the new Gran Turismo 7 release date trailer. It just came out. Not only did the trailer feature fan favorite cars old and new, but it was packed with references and callbacks around Gran Turismo's entries in the past. The first 4 Gran Turismo games especially get some love, with some of the more extended mood-setting scenes that were previously pre-rendered in their respective opening scenes have been remade and shown with Gran Turismo 7's in-engines thing. Traffic or what? No. Thing. Yeah. So then they've got a bunch of comparison shots here of the Gran Turismo original trailer, and you could say, "Oh, look, it just happens to be close to the same." Nah, I reckon
there's too many.
There's too many coincidences. Too many coincidences to call back. So if you want to look at the full article, obviously they'll have everything in, but they show it's like the opening shots of the trailer is literally mimicking the opening shots of the original Gran Turismo trailer, which is like the grandstand. Then it shows the lights, the race lights, and then it shows a truck opening revealing a GT in the back, and the new one shows a GT, a new better looking car, obviously, but same, it's still a truck opening. It's the exact same angle of the camera as well. And then it goes into Gran Turismo 2, where they had a similar shot where it's showing reflections on a car, and the way the camera moves over it is exactly the same. They then have a Gran Turismo 3 moment where it shows pistons firing in an engine, and it's basically the exact same thing. Obviously, it looks a little bit better and different because the engine's more highly detailed and whatever else, but it's more or less the exact same thing. So, and there's a couple other things I think I saw someone point out elsewhere, but I mean, none of that I noticed because I'm not like hardcore Gran Turismo, but I appreciated it once I saw people like sort of begin to call out and go, oh, there was actually like callbacks for the hardcore fans in this one. So good job.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very cool.
Yeah. Appreciate that shit when it's done for games we actually know. So I was like, might as well call it out for a game we missed it on. But
yeah.
And then on Gran Turismo as well, Butch Square writes, Gran Turismo 7's PS5, PS4 campaign requires an online connection. Gran Turismo 7's refreshed single-player campaign aims to capture the spirit of old games in all but one area. As noted in the small print on the PlayStation blog, you will need an internet connection in order to enjoy the solo experience, as well as its car collecting GTA Cafe mode and livery editor. Presumably, this game is going to be quite light if you don't have your console online. It's not massively surprising, of course, because GT Sport was the same. However, that was very much billed as an online game from the outset. Some fans will be wondering why they can't enjoy the single-player campaign without an internet connection, especially if it operates independently from the multiplayer modes. Presumably, this is something Polyphony Digital will have to discuss in more detail prior to the title's 4th March release date. Because while most people have their console connected to the internet these days, this is rarely a requirement that goes down well among enthusiasts. And it will not, I presume. People do get annoyed with this stuff, and I can understand why. Even Forza Horizon, a game that is built around being online and all the cars you see racing around your world are like your friends and, you know, or all that sort of online connectivity stuff that we first sort of saw done with Burnout Paradise, I guess. It's like built on that whole open world sort of same system. If you play that game offline, you still just get bot cars roaming around. You can play it offline. You can do it. So, bit annoying. I don't.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Like maybe there's like technical reasons. Like a lot of this stuff, like a lot of these, like the cafe and stuff is like a bunch of different cars. Like maybe they're not going to store that on your actual PlayStation. You have to be online so you can access that information from like a server.
It's possible.
But then why not like just racetracks, like basic stuff? Unless again, it's those cars are purely on a server. So the only way you'd be able to drive them is if you're connected to the server. Hopefully they figure out some sort of workaround to make it easier for people, but yeah, it's not a great thing. I don't think it's ever been super well received when a game is online only as a single player game.
No, never. No one's ever gone, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. No. I mean, rightfully so, people do, you know, bring up the whole, well, I have a PS5, but I live in the middle of fucking nowhere, and I don't really play it online, but I want to play the game. What do I do? Because there are people, as weird as it sounds to say these days, there are still people that live places where they don't have good internet, or internet
or
at
capped
all,
internets,
or capped internets, or whatever, yeah, whatever it be. So for those people, they're the ones who it affects the most. Because, and I do get it, when you spend $750 on a console, and maybe you're really looking forward to this, and you find out you can't really play it because you don't have internet, when you presumed, and I would say rightfully so, that it's a Gran Turismo game, single player, there's multiplayer modes, but you were like, it's single player so I can play it at home, or I've got shitty internet, or no internet. And they find out in small text at the bottom of a PlayStation blog article that says internet connection required for all play. Yeah, so I don't know. All right, next. This happened like the day before or whatever, the showcase or something around that. Polygon writes, Sony buys Firesprite, the studio behind the Playroom. Sony has added another developer to its PlayStation Studios lineup on Wednesday, so it would have been our Thursday, I guess, the day before. Sony announced that it has acquired Firesprite, a Liverpool-based studio that has worked with Sony several times in the past. Several of Firesprite's members were formerly part of Sony Interactive Entertainment Studio Liverpool, making this return to Sony for many at the studio. Firesprite was founded in 2012 and has since developed a number of games for Sony's PlayStation consoles. Firesprite's previous games include The Playroom and The Playroom VR, Run, Sackboy Run, as well as the horror game, The Persistence. Earlier this year, Firesprite announced that it has been working with Cloud Imperium Games on Star Citizen Theatre of Wars, a multiplayer game mode that will combine many different types of combat from Star Citizen. What are you laughing so sure?
Star Citizen. A game that's actually going to come out?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No, it's not going to come out.
No, it's just a money pit. That's what it is.
There's literally like... no. Don't get me started on Star Citizen. Sony and Firesprite's announcement of the acquisition did not mention Theatres of War or any specific upcoming projects. The announcement does include a statement from Firesprite's managing director, Graham Ankers, which mostly focuses on the relationship that Firesprite and Sony have had so far, with few clues about what might be in the studio's future. This is, of course, the second major addition to Sony's PlayStation Studios this year. In June, they acquired Housemarque. I know everyone likes to always be like, and they've got Bluepoint. And although, yes, I'm pretty sure that's weird that they posted that, and let's presume that announcement's still to come. I would just
that actually is weird now that you mention it.
Yeah, I would just lower everyone's confirmation of that from like 99.9 to just, I think everyone should bring it down a little bit because everyone's riding on it being like...
It actually could just be they used the wrong logo.
Some motherfucker could have legit done some fucked up weird shit. So look, I would lean more heavily on the side that announcement is coming. They're waiting to pair it up with maybe a game announcement at the same time or something like that. That makes sense. But everyone needs to just get off the 0.9% a little bit just in case it was actually a mistake. So let's just focus on the fact that they've acquired two this year. Like they haven't acquired
Sony haven't made a correction, right?
They have not talked about it at all.
So that would...
I'm saying when people are like tweeting stuff like, this is the third studio they've got you. I'm like, no. Like, we're presuming the Bluepoint things to come. But like, let's just talk in facts sometimes. The fact is they've got two. And
two confirmed.
So one sentence, Sony has acquired two new studios this year. Housemarque and now Firesprite. End sentence. We also believe...
No, they got that... the PC port place.
Oh, yeah, and then, right, yeah.
So that's three.
Free, whose name I cannot even fucking remember.
So now you just realize you've been reading these articles right?
Maybe.
They were correct the entire time?
I can't even remember. No, because they always like say Bluepoint or whatever. But it's like, whatever. So three, they've acquired 3 studios this year. 2 who actually are going to make games, and third who's presumably just...
Picked up Zipper, I think.
That was it. And
no, that's not it.
No, that's not it. It's, whoever. The third one is just doing ports. Or re-releases or whatever. Bluepoint is yet to be confirmed. That's the second part of the sentence. just put a clear line between them all, because some motherfucker's going to get out there and get confused one day. It's coming. Presumably, it's coming. It's not out yet. Anyway, Firesprite. How do you feel about this? What do you reckon they picked them up for?
Nixes.
There you go with the two X's.
Yeah.
What do you reckon they're going to have them doing? More VR or?
Maybe. I don't know. They've obviously, Persistence seems to have done reasonably well, although they did make a non-VR version. So, I suspect it'll kind of be like a support studio, at least initially, unless they've got some sort of pitch. I mean, they've obviously, I know we said, during the showcase, Sony doesn't have anything, but they've got a lot of irons in the fire. Just like nothing really coming right away, or nothing yet they want to show off, because we know they've got partnerships with a bunch of different studios for IPs that Sony's will own in the works. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like a support studio, at least initially, unless they've got something they're still building internally as well.
Do you not reckon they're going to make a launch PSVR 2 game? Or already are?
Yeah, maybe.
Because I do think...
I don't think that's the only thing they're working on.
No, but I do think they could have already been working on a game, and they only just made this announcement that they've acquired them. Like, it's not like they acquired them last week, and now they're like, hey, do you want to start on that PSVR 2 game?
Yeah.
Like, that's not really how it works. Because there are rumors. I don't have an article for this. I don't know if anyone's wrote about it. Maybe it's just rumors that don't have any credence. But there was rumors going around, I did say today or yesterday, coming from somewhere, about a Horizon VR game that will launch with PSVR 2. So that's a thing.
That's
or,
crazy.
Of course, just Playroom 2 as a freebie as part of PSVR 2. Always having an Astro game to launch alongside a new console, be it VR or non-VR. That's a thing, especially if Japan Studio or what the fuck's that studio? Astro? No, what's that studio called that does Astro?
Team Sobi.
Team Sobi, yeah, because they're probably just working on a proper, fully fledged 3D platformer, like an expansion of that. I don't think they're going back to VR. I think they would just do a bigger version of the Astrobot game.
Playroom.
Yeah, not the VR one. So I'll tell you what though, I was thinking when they acquired them, whatever, I was thinking like, especially after how much I didn't like, I was so let down by the showcase. I'm kind of looking forward to when we finally get PSVR 2 announced, because they just don't talk about it at all, really. And I feel like it has the potential to be a exciting event. And then I'll throw out this other random idea. I was thinking about this in the car when I was driving home today.
Yeah.
What if, and this may be my brain trying to help me make sense of how bad I thought that showcase was and find reasoning as to why I think it's bad, which is probably exactly what's happening. If I'm just driving, traffic sucks, I'm at a red light. My brain's like, what if Sony, kind of like AEW, held back CM Punk until they had a crowd? Until they had a crowd, right?
Maybe.
What if Sony wants to put on a PlayStation...
A live event?
What they used to call those things?
PSX.
PSX. What if they want to put on PSX and they want to actually save a bunch of big things for a live audience? Is that a thing?
It could be. I wouldn't... Well, like I said during the showcase, a lot of their studios kind of blew their load right at the end of PS4 generation, which makes sense. That's the largest number of consoles you're ever going to have a game for at any point in time, so it makes sense that you think Sucker Punch and Naughty Dog both had games in the last year. So that's two studios that are unlikely to have anything out anytime soon. So, but, maybe the other studios are working on new IPs and stuff that isn't necessarily going to present well in this showcase that people have been waiting 12 months to have shown off, Not until they're a bit more concrete, So show the license things that people get super hyped for, or sequels to things that people get super hyped for, and
because you remember all those, how
with little effort.
I don't think we talked about it on that episode at all. But you know how there was all those rumors going around about Infamous coming back?
Yes,
and everyone was talking about it. All the tweets, because I didn't read any of the articles, because as I said, everyone was talking about it in such a way in the headlines articles that it sounded like it was a set thing. So I was like, I don't want to read these articles. I don't want to read more in case there's leaks or something. I was just like, I'll wait. And then of course it wasn't actually there. And I kind of forgot about it until later on. I was like, wait, what happened to all those Infamous leaks and whatever else? What the fuck happened there? The
number of nerds getting upset because of lightning wasn't Infamous. It was in the Spider-Man trailer.
I mean, what a fool me once kind of situation. But you know who would be really cool? PSX.
What?
Lights come down. Lightning.
3 dots appear.
No, fuck off with that character. He's come like lightning pop. Oh. And then they have a fake set with a grind rail or some shit. You see someone grinding down. You're like, oh my god. Is it Sly Raccoon? Who is it? Out he jumps. Fucking sandals, sandwich, backpack, whatever you call them. Carry backpacks, male backpack. What do you call that backpack? He's wearing that motherfucking backpack. It's called McGrath. He's back, baby.
He murders everybody in the room.
He literally kills everyone in the room. Yeah. Wouldn't that be cool though?
Yeah.
I actually think maybe I'm reaching a stage now where I actually would like a live event back. That's kind of, there is an element to them that you just can't, even watching them on my computer screen or whatever, there is an element to driving a Twisted Metal fucking clown car on stage, or, Sean Layden walking on stage with a Crash t-shirt or whatever and hearing the crowd there's there is an element to that you just can't replicate by just doing a showcase stream.
No.
There is an element, I think, that crowd and the stage thing or whatever brings. It also opens up for more just things that go wrong because they don't get to like edit around people talking too long and, they don't get to fine tune the general structure. But there is an element to these live shows that can actually elevate and make things cooler. And especially like if you think about something like Infamous, if they brought like Infamous back or Resistance or any of these sort of big franchises, if they were to ever come back and you got it at PSX, you get like a massive pop, which would be way cooler to play those clips back. You ever go like watch old E3 clips? And a big part of them is actually the crowd reaction. More and the way the presenter talks about it and then hearing the crowd and stuff. So we just don't, that is like a thing we just don't get anymore. So
no. Well, that's because,
well, pandemic, yeah, I know, but like PlayStation left E3 prior to that, and that's just
1 year, was it? I can't remember.
I think it was 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
So even if COVID didn't ruin it, they probably still wouldn't have been at E3, but maybe we would have got PSX. I don't know. Anyway.
Don't know. Yeah. I've been thinking we should do like a series where we go back and watch old press conferences. It'd be like, but I mean, it's interesting when you complain about there's no games now, but like one of the most beloved showcases ever was the showcase where they showed Kingdom Hearts 3, Last Guardian, Final Fantasy VII Remake, games that didn't come out forever.
And I'll 100% admit it, I lost my absolute marbles sitting in my room watching that Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer by myself. I fucking nearly knocked my drink over. And then I just sat there crying for like a period afterwards. I was definitely like amongst those. There's no video proof of this because I wasn't like recording content at the time. I was just awake and doing it,
Yeah.
Doing it like as you do. Yeah. So there was a crowd reaction for that one too. You heard it in the back of that clip. Yeah. You can hear people go, oh, is it? Yeah. And you're like, oh, this, all stuff. So it's part of it. All right, let's move on. Sony or Kotaku writes, classic Little Big Planet server shut down permanently following hacks. So time to say RIP to Sackboy. Little Big Planet fans have a bit of good news, bad news situation this morning. After months of downtime, the PS4 servers of Little Big Planet 3 are back online, while the community content restored and working as before. However, servers for all prior PS3 and Vita versions will remain offline indefinitely, having been shut down in an effort to protect the Little Big Planet community and keep the online services safe. Back in May, Sony shut the servers down for the first 3 Little Big Planet games and the Vita version due to ongoing attacks and malicious messages left by hackers. The issues went back to late last year when Eurogamer reported that ongoing DDoS attacks and unstable servers could be traced back to a single fan who was unhappy with Sony's treatment of the franchise. There are also reports from players being unable to play some community-made content and offensive messages appearing in-game. So that's good, I guess, for people who are still playing Little Big Planet 3. Have some fun there. Otherwise, the game is now officially dead on PS3 and Vita for those who are playing there, which apparently was actually, not to joke, but apparently there was a fair chunk of people playing on PS3 still, so more power to you, I guess. But sorry you'll have to upgrade to the last generation console now. But also, my favorite thing, I think we talked about this maybe like a year ago or whatever, but my favorite thing about this story is just that fuckwit. I don't like what they're doing with the franchise. Dude, the developers moved on to a completely different game that's literally just taken the idea of Little Big Planet and just made it like 20 million times bigger. And you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, it's taking what they want to do. Like, go play Dreams, motherfucker. And then this, I don't like what they're treating the franchise, so I'll ruin it for everybody. Literally the mentality of half of New South Wales right now of COVID. I don't like what you're doing the thing right now, so I'll ruin it for everybody. Gonna go to the fucking beach. Fucking waste of air. Cut their oxygen off. Fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. Like, this motherfucker probably is an anti-vaxxer. I don't know what they're doing to the franchise. And the needles will make my balls drop off. Nicki Minaj said so. Did you see that fucking tweet? Do you not see this thing? Oh shit, we're doing it live. Hold on, let me get this fucking tweet up. We're doing it live. Maybe I'm gonna feel. Dear listeners, if you haven't seen this tweet, I'm about to blow your fucking. How do you spell Minaj? M-I. Here we go. So she did this whole rant, right? She did this whole rant about COVID, and she was replying to people being like, you know, like, oh, I don't know if I'll get it. Vaccines, you know, I'm not really sure if I trust them, and all this sort of stuff. And she was on for a while here. It basically all started because apparently she wasn't allowed to go to the Mets or whatever. That's what it's called, right? The Mets Gala. Yeah, on today.
Yeah, the Met Gala.
So,
yeah.
But this is the tweet that blew up because everyone was making fun of it became a copy pasta. One of those. My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married. Now the girl called off the wedding, so just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision. Not bullied. And then Alana Pierce is the top response currently with like 68.8 thousand likes. When you get an STI and you don't want your girl to know. Hey, baby, I got the shot. It's COVID. It's so fucking... What a tweet. What a fucking dumbass. What a fucking dumbass. Hey, Nicki Minaj. There we go. Who's now someone needs to figure out and tell me if what the fuck's her name? Fat wet ass pussy. Fuck, what's her name? Cardi B, fuck's sake. Right. Cardi so now, B, yeah. if Cardi B's not an anti-vaxxer, I think for the people who do this whole Cardi B versus Nicki Minaj, who's the best one or whatever, then Cardi B wins, right? There you go.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Hip Hop Music Explosion.
Just took a little bit of a divergent there. You know, it's fine. Anyway, yeah, fuck this dude and get vaccinated. Next story, IGN writes, new Twisted Metal rumored to be in development alongside TV show. Sony is reportedly planning to revive Twisted Metal video game series, seemingly alongside the franchise's upcoming TV show. In a recent video on Giant Bomb, GamesBeat's Jeff Grubb said he'd heard that a Twisted Metal revival is in the works, but still might be a ways off. VGC reports that they'd also heard of a new Twisted Metal game on the way. Sean Layden, who was chairman of SAE Worldwide Studios at the time, said, quote, we looked at what Marvel has done in taking the world of comic books and making it into the biggest thing in the film world. It would be a lofty goal to say we're following in the footsteps, but certainly we're taking inspiration from that. Layden has since left Sony, but the strategy appears to remain intact. Other projects, of course, currently in the work include Last of Us TV show, Uncharted movie, Ghost of Tsushima movie, blah, 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 blah. We do know about the Twisted Metal thing because they talked about it. It was like the first thing they announced when they announced the PlayStation Productions was a thing. PlayStation Productions, which is why we call that segment when we talk about movies and TV shows by Sony the segment's called PlayStation Productions because it's what it's called. I will say though, I saw someone, because I don't follow him because I just don't particularly like the way he talks about things. I think that's a thing I'm allowed to say, and that's not particularly mean. But I don't like the way Jaffe tweets, so I don't follow him. That's how you should just not. That's normal. You don't like the way someone tweets, you shouldn't follow him on fucking Twitter. There you go. But I saw someone share one of his tweets prior to the PlayStation thing, where they said that he had tweeted like, "Oh my god, I just heard about a game everyone had been asking me about for ages, and they're probably going to reveal it at the showcase." And then when I was thinking back on that after the fact, I'm like, what the fuck was it in there? Surely not. Maybe he was talking about, maybe he'd heard about Twisted Metal, because it's either, it could have been God of War, I guess. I guess that's the other thing. But are people really asking him about God of War still? He hasn't worked on a God of War since 2005 or whenever? 2005? Like, really? He worked on Twisted Metal after that? I don't know. Maybe it was. Anyway. Twisted Metal, TV series, apparently that's the thing, it's still happening. Apparently they'll make a game to tie into it. I have no problem with that. And the Ratchet & Clank game. 2018? Was that 2018? 2019. Anyway, Ratchet & Clank. That was a movie tie-in, technically, people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you people forget that. That was a movie tie-in. Look how good it was.
That was way better.
Yep.
So
Still haven't watched the movie. In fact, the movie clips in the game look worse than the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then finally, we got another trailer, well, the final trailer for Death Stranding Director's Cut. This was the trailer that Hideo Kojima had been tweeting about for like 16 years about editing consistently. So this is officially the one because it at the start makes sure to say edited. But it's before anything else. Edited by Hideo Kojima. And then you can see his name pop up about 10 times afterwards to say it's a Kojima game by Hideo Kojima. Blah, 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 blah. Really fucking cool trailer though. I think as far as like this dude can edit the hell out of a trailer. I'll give him that. And the game obviously looks really cool. I really like it. It's a good game. You should play it if you haven't. You should get the Director's Cut. Play that. But I will say, if you haven't played Death Stranding already and you were planning to jump in at the Director's Cut being your introduction to the series or whatever, maybe not watch this trailer because it is kind of filled with spoilers. Like, did you watch this trailer?
Yeah, I just watched it before.
Very cool, right? But full of spoilers, wouldn't you say?
There are a couple of pretty prominent spoilers for someone who's played the game. I don't know how much it would affect somebody who doesn't play the game.
Yeah, but I'm not even talking like that. I don't want to point them out because there's moments where I'm like, that's from a certain point in the game, whatever else. Like even that out of context, it spoils a lot of really cool moments. I feel is another thing.
I think this very much is again making you think, oh, it's not the walking simulator that we all thought it was. You know, trying to put as many big action moments in the trailer as possible.
Well, to be fair, most of the stuff in the trailer is from the last quarter of the game, which is not it's when you're done with all the walking stuff.
Spoilers. I mean, it's a great trailer. If they could have just pulled out the two shots that were clearly put in to showcase certain elements of the director's cut, it would have been a great trailer.
You mean right at the end where it shows the new stuff out
the training thing, and then the race car. Other than that, great trailer.
So where's that? Yeah, it starts at around 3. You got 3 minutes, awesome trailer, and then suddenly it's like here's him in the training room. Like fuck, it kind of kills the mood because up until that point it's like really epic, cool trailer. But that's good. I mean, if you played it, haven't watched the trailer, I'd watch the trailer. It's a really cool trailer, apart from the end part. But
it's funny.
Also, shout outs. I don't know who I'm shouting out, but shout outs to the trophy lists. Because the Death Stranding Director's Cut trophy list is live. People are playing it, not me, which is why I'm allowed to talk about it. Because that's always I guess that's the thing. If you really want to read between the lines, if I ever have a game and I'm not allowed to talk about it, I won't be talking about the trophy list. But I don't have it. So the trophy list is up, and it is, from what I've gathered, going to be a piss easy auto pop platinum. Because as soon as I went live, I looked at the people who were popping trophies, and nearly everyone was auto popping straight up to 95% basically. And there's a couple trophies that don't auto pop, which seems to be, going through it, I think it's these 3. I think it's the fabricate old weapons and equipment because there's new stuff. So you just simply have to, I would say, again, me guessing, if I load in my save and I've already fabricated everything to get the platinum in the first place, I would simply just need to hopefully just fabricate the new things and then it'll pop it. Or maybe you have to refabricate everything to get it to trigger. Even if that's the case, not a big deal. Not at all. Upgrade all structures to their maximum level. There are more structures now. They've added the new ones. So that makes sense how that would have to change. And then I think there was one other, maybe not. They were all just stuff like that. There was no trophies. Complete at least one type of every structure. Maybe that was it as well. So there's like 3 trophies, I think. But overall, it seems to be just a easy pop to platinum. My only disappointment with this trophy list, nothing tied to the new content at all. I would have appreciated if they'd done the Director's Cut trophy list, that it was the base game list, which is what we have here, and then they put in a DLC section, like they've done for Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, and that's where they put the Iki Island trophies, and they did another list for the like New Game Plus and whatever else. Do something like that for the Director's Cut content. So beat the new missions, whatever they're called, right? Make another trophy for race 5 people. You know, like just something. I don't know. But I'm happy it seems I'll be able to get another easy platinum, but I'm also just sort of disappointed that there's no DLC trophies. So that's a bit disappointing. But can't have it all yet. What disappointment. That's it, right? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
When's that out? What's that date? Is that like next week, right? Yeah. Next Friday, I think.
Oh, that's crazy.
Times are busy these days. So many games, so many things to do, so much stuff to talk about. That's why you should make sure to check out ExplosionNetwork.com. There's so much going on. And otherwise, let us know any comments, questions, concerns you've had for this week's episode by heading to ExplosionNetwork.com/Twitter. Find out all Twitters. Head to ExplosionNetwork.com/Discord to join our Discord. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth $1 or more, head on over to ExplosionNetwork.com/support. Takes you to our Ko-fi page. Support us over there. And until next week, loop, loop, loop. Please enjoy Deathloop if you're playing it. If you're not,
I guess just start this episode again.
Boom, boom, boom. Hello, welcome to Platinum Social number 1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Blind. Joining me, as always, Asher Hobley.
Hey, Dylan. Excited to be here with this incredible feeling of deja vu.
Fuck, I was going to see if you could, like, just legit remember exactly what you said, because my part was easy. It's the fucking intro of the show. Bye. Hey, don't forget you can subscribe to the show wherever you're currently listening, and you can drop a review if you can. Find more great shows like this and more content over at ExplosionNetwork.com, and please consider supporting us for as little as $1 over on our Ko-fi page by heading to ExplosionNetwork.com/support. Thanks for listening.